What is up, everybody?
What's going on, Terry?
Not too much, Jay. Not too much, man. Thanks for taking the time to jump in. I appreciate it. But
yeah, happy to do it.
Got a bunch of people that I've been talking about saying you're going to jump on the show, and hopefully they're going to be checking it out, depending on where they're at. But yeah, I got Jay Kinder here, real estate icon, all sorts of. I can go on and on about everything you've done, but I think it'd be good coming from you, man. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, sure, man. I have a mercifully brief introduction that I could do for sure. Yeah. So 23 years in the business. I think, formerly known as number 2 in the world for Coldwell Banker, 500 plus home sales a year for a number of years. Was in the top 10 in the world for Coldwell Banker before I went independent. Started coaching and training agents in 2006, me and my good buddy, Michael Reese. And helped a lot of agents build highly successful businesses, become number 1 agent in their marketplace, or at least in the, as big as they wanted to build their business. And since then, they've transitioned to EXP. Almost 3 years now at EXP. Right. We're adding value to the group that we're creating there at EXP, and helping them grow their businesses and build passive incomes and earn stock and all kinds of fun stuff.
Right. No, it's awesome. I remember seeing seeing you were coming over along with some of these other guys, and I was like, man, I got to write about the same time. So, right. I mean, I think that was like the whole beginning of the hockey stick curve.
Yeah,
and
it felt like
booming.
Yeah.
So how'd you get? Where did it all start at? I know you said 2006, just super quick, but where did it all start at?
Yeah, well, I got into real estate in '97. So I was 19 years old, and my dad had just bought the Coldwell Banker franchise. He was an independent, he had a lot of property management more than anything, but he bought a Coldwell Banker franchise. I was going to college at the time, and wasn't feeling that too much, and got my real estate license and just kind of started trying to figure it out. And I remember what happened. I saw one of the guys in the company. When I was going to pick up my check for mowing yards, by the way, I was mowing my dad's rental properties.
Nice.
And the ones I got to mow were the ones where they skipped out and didn't pay rent and hadn't mowed all season long. That's what I did. That was my job prior to real estate. And so, but I was going in to get my check for like $300 or $400, and this guy Rusty Williams was getting a check for I think it was like $3,500 or $5,000. It was a lot of money to me. It was a lot of money. I was like, this guy didn't even break a sweat today. I said, if he can do it, I can do it. And so, I'm not knowing what I didn't know. Then got my license, and then learned I didn't know anything, right? I didn't know how to find a customer. I didn't know how to get a customer. I didn't have a sphere of influence. And so, started trying to figure out.
Uh-oh, you got some technical problems. I lost you, Jay. Well, I'm still recording. Jay must have lost his signal. See if he comes back here in a second. All right, guys, we might have to reschedule this. Let me see where Jay's at. I'll text him quick. Give me 1 second to get this rolling. All right, I'm going to give this just a couple minutes, everybody, and see what's happening, because everything's still working on my side. If he can get his working here, we'll give him a sec. He might be coming back in. But thank you guys for coming. We'll see if Jay pops back on here. Just send him the link again. Get him rolling and everything. Let's see if you guys have any questions for Jay when he gets back. Let's check this out. Let's see here. See if I can give him a call. Okay, yeah, I'm still here just talking live. So, all right, boss. Thanks, man. Yep. All right. So, yes, Jay had some technical problems, but he is jumping right back on. He's going to try and connect to his phone, the beautiful thing in technology. So, if you guys are on right now, stay on. He's coming back. I'll keep my phone handy in case he cannot get back on. But you're going to find a lot of great information here. I got some good questions for Jay. Oh, he's popped back in. Here we go. All right.
Good old internet. This is I used to think my country internet when I lived in the country was bad. I think it's worse in town. I get kicked. It hasn't really happened that often, but I got kicked off, I guess. So I'm back though. So
yep. Well, you're back. You're back. That's all that matters. That's what happens. So,
yep.
Where we're at. Tell us kind of.
Yeah. So basically, I started paying a bunch of money to go to everybody I could and try to learn how to sell real estate. And so that's I went to a Dale Carnegie class. I remember that was my first sales training, which was amazing. And at the time, I would have been scared to speak in front of anybody. I mean, you talk about scared to speak, not for me. I was not the guy for that. And so I had to learn to get past a lot of that. And that it really helped me at a young age to go through some of that stuff. But yeah, go to these different events and, I'd buy a little of this and then I'd go try it and it wouldn't work. And then I'd try something and it would work. And eventually I kind of cut my teeth on FSBOs and expireds actually. And I learned how to get shut down and how to get told no every possible way. And, and then some poor fool said yes. And then I was like, holy shit, it works. Like, this is easy. I can do that.
Now,
yeah, right. So it's like, well, now I'm calling all of them. If I got one to believe me, I can help them, then I can probably get more. And so, eventually, I think that was, just a little bit of success went a long ways, because, there's no cost to go after FSBOs and expired. So I was like, this is a free market for me to go after. And eventually just got better. I think I got better and better and better just because of the number of presentations I had to give and, going through that process of trying to communicate your value and how you can help people and building rapport and all that kind of stuff. And so that was really it. And then I did open houses every Sunday, literally every Sunday. I didn't have a life. I mean, I was doing them every Sunday. And so that was, especially you get a listing, I was making promises like, yeah, I'll hold your house open every Sunday, like, so that's kind of how it started. And, eventually started to get, the more listings I got, I recognized the more listings that I got, the more calls that I got. And so, I got buyers from that and I got other listings from that. And so I really kind of quickly figured out that getting listings was the answer. If you could get listings, then things kind of started to take off and it grew. I mean, it really grew fast. I mean, I think I did 22 deals my first year, then 39, then 70 something, then 100 something, and then 233, and then 400. It was just crazy after that. But and it was focused on an awful lot on understanding how to acquire a customer through marketing. That was the primary skill that I needed to learn. And once I had learned, it kind of opened the door to wanting to learn more about it, and so I could do more of it. And so it's been a lot of years and a lot of time learning marketing and the skill set of marketing and how to do that in a lot of different ways. And so, yeah, it's been fun. I can tell you that it's the greatest business you could ever ask for. I mean, when you really think about it, you can spend, I can show you how to spend a couple $100 and make 10 grand and marketing. And that's just it's just the truth, right? In real estate, the cost, in the transaction is very limited. It's mostly our time, and you can leverage a lot of that too. And so, you can really, build a really successful high margin career in real estate, unlike you can in any other business that I've ever, looked at.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, people get into real estate because they see all this stuff like it's easy. Well, I mean, you got to work too. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, you miss that piece of it.
Yeah, there's not, I would say there's nothing easy about anything if you want to be successful. And so, like, if it ain't hard, then you're not trying hard enough, right? Like, it's hard, and you're going to be put in situations where you don't know what to do. You don't know how to win a customer. I mean, if you're not uncomfortable, then you're probably not going to be successful. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable in real estate and get used to people saying no, and that's until you get better and then, it gets easier. But, it definitely, I think there's a high turnover rate of agents, largely because of the lack of a plan and having really anybody financially aligned to help you be successful. But it's definitely not easy, but it's easy to get into. So that's
it's definitely easy. It's like I pay $100 or $200, whatever it is, and I'm in now.
Right.
Well, now you can make as much as you want, but you do have to follow the people before you that made the path.
Best thing you can do. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Learn from those who've come before you.
Right. No, 100%. And same thing, kind of like you said, your dad was in it, my dad was in it, and it's all I knew. And then I got away. I was like, I don't want to do this. I wanted to figure out my own path. I joined the Marines, wherever it is on this side. So I did that, and I got out. Oh, yeah, appreciate the support. But then I got out, and I kind of the same thing. I looked one day, and I think it was my mom and my dad, and I looked down, and I was like, you've been home for like a couple of weeks. I mean, and you just got like 2 or 3 checks. And I'm looking, and back then I'm looking like 2,000, 3,000. I was like, wait a second here, wait, what did you just do? Right. And I was like, I'm going to get my license. And it was like 2001.
Yeah. And, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. And I'm trying to do everything to make a few bucks. And,
right. It's like, man, it seems like y'all did a whole lot for that money. There's checks on the desk there. Yeah. That's exactly how I felt about it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So then, you went through and Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And I mean, you took it and then you started to build your own systems and companies. It started to create its own.
Yeah, I wasn't. It wasn't. I never had this idea that I mean, I enjoyed it when agents would call. Like, I'd go to these events and they'd put me on stage or whatever, and I would just kind of tell the things I'm doing or whatever, and I'd like help. Afterwards, I'd help agents. They'd ask me questions, or they'd call me, or someone would fly into my office and come see our operation, that kind of stuff. And I loved that. It was great. But I never was thinking about building a business around it until Mike Reese called me, and he got into when he got into real estate. Because I had never thought about what I did to be successful. I mean, I'm just doing a bunch of stuff and whatever's working is working. Like, I didn't look back and go, hey, now what did you do first? What did you say? And what was the third thing that worked? I couldn't have told you what I did. And so Mike was like, hey, man, what website should I get? He's like, I mean, he's getting his license. He didn't even have his license. He's like, what website? Well, that's easy. I'm getting 300 leads a month. And he didn't have this preconceived mindset of I shouldn't be spending $200 a month. He's like, $300 a month? I'll spend that money. And so he had the best website I knew of in the industry that you could get. And he was, spending a few $100 or whatever it was a month for that before he even had his license. So he understood in order for him to be successful, he needed leads. So it wasn't there wasn't this, oh, I don't know if I want to try that. It was absolutely, I'll do that. And so he was super coachable. And then it's like, okay, the next problem he would have is like, I got more leads than I can call. What do I do? Well, you need somebody to call the leads if you can't get to them. So we hired ISA, and so doing the right things in the right order. He got this tremendous amount of leverage, and he built his business to $1 million in GCI in his third year. And so it was crazy, right? Like, both of us were like, holy smokes. Like, if a couple knuckleheads like us could do it, we could probably help anybody do it. And that's when we started thinking about, now, how do we teach other people to do this? How can we? Because there wasn't anybody really teaching people how to build a business, and that was what our goal was. And so that's kind of how we ended up, in the industry, training and coaching and stuff like that.
Right, and that led to, I mean, you created some designations along the way, right? Wasn't that something you did down there?
So we created NAEA, the National Association of Expert Advisors, and we did this because we learned our coaching clients, like, we could go tell them what to do and the process and everything else, but they still had to go kind of create everything, like the design of a presentation, this, that, and the other. And so through NAEA, we created the systems, right? So a duplicatable system. So, we have a proven, repeatable system backed by market research to sell homes for up to 18% more than the methods of traditional real estate agents. That's our differentiated value proposition. So when you joined NAEA, this was when you joined coaching or you joined NAEA, essentially, you got to go through the course, get certified, use all the tools, all the ads, everything that we would do to position you as the expert in the marketplace. That we would usually coach you to do, but you had to figure out somehow how to do that. And it's usually you saying you're great instead of NAEA saying you're great and you're a certified home selling advisor. So there's a third party endorsement element to it. But that was just, again, we were just trying to add more value to the agent, because none of this stuff exists, right? Like, you don't have a value proposition when you join a brokerage. You don't have a presentation and a process that you follow. Like, none of that stuff's being taught. And so we just kept moving further down the value chain of trying to deliver more value to the agent, and we did it through a platform we created, which was NAEA, the association.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. Because I remember a long time ago, I don't remember what year it was. I came across. I was like, I want a piece of that. Yeah. I want a piece of that. It was a fun beginning. But yeah, so you did all that, and all this stuff. Everything's working. Could life probably? I mean, you can say maybe not. Couldn't be better.
I mean, we worked hard. I'll give you that. I mean, but we were Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company 6 years in a row. We had 40 plus employees. I enjoyed it, what we were doing. But it was a lot of work. I mean, I was definitely up at 4 a.m. every day and, putting in the hours, but I was home at 5. That was the thing I didn't have in real estate when I was in production, was I didn't have home at 5. In the coaching training organization, I was home at 5. So I got to be home with my family, which was important to me. But I still had, a tremendous amount of overhead for a business that was doing 8 or 10 million a year. And so for us, we're always looking for a better way. There's always a better way, and there's always a better business model out there. And a lot of times we don't know it because we didn't think of it, or we would have created it ourselves. So there's things that you haven't ever seen before. And if you haven't ever seen it before, you probably wouldn't be able to think of it even if you tried. So, EXP was one of those examples of a business model that I overlooked twice. And then at the instruction of Al Stasic saying, I need you to poke holes in this, bro. I'm about to move to EXP. I think this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I finally said, okay, I'm going to look at it a lot closer. And then, and I did it with an open mind, meaning I assumed that I was wrong, assuming I must have missed something, assuming that that the business model we created wasn't the best thing in the world, that maybe there was something better. And when I started thinking that way, I started looking at how I looked at it for what it is and what it could be and how we could leverage it. And so that was a different frame of mind. And once that happened, I couldn't unsee it, man. I saw all the opportunity, essentially, with our partner model, the things we were doing, a done for you system, it included marketing, and we guaranteed agents 4 listings a month. We'd get them to 100 listings or 100 deals a year within 2 years. And that was what we coached people to do. So we knew we could do it. And then we did it all, the done for you marketing, everything, all the expenses, everything was on us. That was working really great. Except it was expensive. It was expensive for us to implement it. And it was expensive for you to be a part of it. You had to pay us a 50% split. You had to pay a 10 grand for your territory, because we only had 1 agent per territory. And so that was all good and great. And we were delivering a ton of value. But then we saw EXP and we started scratching our heads saying, we could do this and they would never have to pay us. Like, we could provide all this value and never have to run a credit card. And that started really getting the wheels turning, right? Like, holy cow, like, we would make enough money on the back end that we wouldn't have to charge agents. And we saw it as, this is a way that we could add more value to agents and have a bigger impact on more people's lives. And they don't have to pay us. Like, this is a really big idea. And it took a little while to get through it and believing in it, that it could actually work. But once we, it was pretty clear and it was pretty obvious that this was the best platform for an agent to build a real estate business on, is EXP, and that everyone eventually would be here. This mathematically, it doesn't make any sense for you not to be. And so, we felt like that it was a no-brainer that if we could help grow the company and help the agents that we helped join the company, that it would make sense to do that. And so now we're just grateful to be a part of it, just loving the whole thing.
And that's what's crazy, because you come across people that are huge in the industry or have a huge team or a brokerage or whatever it is, and they see it with an open mind like yourself, and they're like, it clicks. Sometimes it takes some time, but then it clicks. But then it's so funny, because you have other agents that do 5 or 10 deals or 20 or 30 deals a year, and they're like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, what are we missing?
The only reason it doesn't make sense to that agent that's doing 5 or 10 deals is if they don't aspire to do more deals, right? Like, if you're not this is who EXP is for. It's for anybody that's producing 30 transactions or more. It's financially irresponsible for you not to understand the model and be at EXP ultimately. If you're doing less than that, but you want to do more than that, and you have a growth mindset and you're coachable, you should be at EXP. Anybody else, stay where you're at. You're not for EXP. That's my philosophy. What I've always believed is I don't make winners. I make winners win bigger. And at EXP, you don't have to be a winner. You don't have to be like doing, you don't have to be doing 30 deals to move to EXP. You just have to want to do that. And so like, if you're aspiring to be great, I can help you. If you aren't aspiring to be great and you just want to be average, then stay where you're at, because it doesn't really matter if you come to EXP or not. You're not going to benefit like everyone else is benefiting. So
no,
that's just my 2 cents.
No, I think that says it all, because I know when I first got in, I wasn't even thinking. I was just like, hey, this is great, trying to explain it to everybody. Right. And then I started beating my head against the wall, and I was like, okay, I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I'm trying to convince people that don't want what I want. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't, forget them, man. Like, there's too much. Like, think about it. We learned this in the coaching. What we learned in coaching was, first of all, you needed to be selling 25 to 30 homes a year just to afford a $1,500 a month coach. You know what I'm saying? So like, we were self, creating our marketplace by the price point we were at. And so we didn't deal with a lot of that. Every once in a while we had somebody come in that they had money set aside. They were a little less than that. And like, we would, should we let them or should we wait? Should we let them in or not? Sometimes we would. If they had a good enough story, we'd let them in if we believed in them, that they were going to, do the things that were asked of them. But that's kind of the wheelhouse of where if you want to be successful, you got to be willing to invest in yourself. You got to be at a point where you're ready to be coached, and that you've hit the wall a few times, and you're like, okay, there's got to be a better way. Somebody show me the way. Right.
No, I get it. And I love to hear it, because like everybody, as I go through these and talk to people, it's kind of the same thing coming out. It's the same thing, and that's the amazing part about it. So now you've been here 3 years?
Yep. Yeah, 3 years this month. November 1st will be 3 years, actually.
Right. So now, how's it? You came over. It was you. You and a few people. You and a lot of people.
Yeah. It seemed like a lot of people came right there not too long after. But it was me and the 12 agents that we had. So I sponsored two people. I sponsored 2 people, Alex and Michael Reese. And Carlos German, he was one of our mastermind guys that came over right at the same time. So I think I sponsored 3 right away. And then the 12 agents were underneath Alex in our brokerage, and that was it. That was the beginning. And so from there, it's grown. I think I've sponsored 78 agents in 3 years, which if you do the math, I would probably get fired if you were hiring me to recruit, because that's not that many people, but that's like 2 or 3 a month. But that what's crazy, and this is what people don't understand about not just the opportunity, but how it grows. And that group of 78 people over 3 years recruited 4,052 or something like that. I think is where it's at. 4,064 actually. I just looked at it. And so I did actually. I track it about twice a day, but 4,064. And the most amazing number, and this is the one nobody understands until you put it in a spreadsheet, is the growth of that group in the last 30 days is 356. So it means that 350 agents joined my group in the last 30 days. That growth rate is like 9%. So at 9% growth rate, I'll be doubling in like 7 or 8 months. So like my 4,000 agents will be 8,000 agents. The compound effect of agent count is the 8th wonder of the world. Like it's unbelievable. And this is just the model. And I hate to say it this way, but like I don't have anything to do with that and how it's going to grow. I mean, I can try to help, and I do, but it's going to grow regardless if I get out of bed or not. It's just just the reality. I have ultimate time freedom. I have 0 employees, and I'm helping people better their lives on a daily basis on my timetable of how I do it. And so that's the opportunity. I mean, I talked to a guy yesterday who's doing 2 million or netting. He was netting I think he was netting 1.5 million. I think I'm just trying to read through his math in my mind here, but I think he was probably netting over 1 million, maybe close to 1.5 million. And he was like, yeah, I'm already making that now. I said, I made this in 3 years and I don't have a single employee and I don't have to get up tomorrow if I don't want to. I said, you can keep doing what you're doing. I said, but it ain't nothing like what I'm doing. And so like, you just got to understand, like you can keep just and I'm successful. And then you say, "Oh, really? Like, tell me how many of your kids, games have you missed? Tell me how many times you've had to travel when you didn't want to, and how many, how late do you stay up at night, and how much stress are you dealing with? I mean, it's just when you understand the game we are all playing is real simple. It is get the ultimate time freedom, passive income that offsets the cost of living is time freedom. Now you want to go sell $2 million profit worth of real estate and open in multiple markets and do all that. So you still have all that drive. If you're making that passive income that covers all your bills, that's fine. Go do it. But now at least you don't have to. You could do what you might want to do, something different with your time. And I think we get caught up in our own little vision of what we want things to be, and we sometimes just we glance over what may be a better way to get there to the real goal, which is that time freedom, and that you only get there by having passive income that to offset your expenses. And so, I mean, it's crazy. The math on it's dumb. I mean, if I told people what I made this month, they wouldn't believe me.
Yeah, right.
It's more than what that guy's making. I'll tell you that much.
Right, so, and everyone putting in probably 80 hours a week, driving himself crazy in the process.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what he's doing because I know what it takes. I know the amount of leadership and the amount of effort that goes into that. And even though I loved it while I was doing it, if you'd have told me I could have had this, and you couldn't have explained it being as good as it is. But if you could have tried to explain it to me, I wouldn't have been able to easily say, I'm going to stop doing this and do that, right? Because there's like a gap in between it. You got to cross over to, and so it's hard for some people to understand. All I can tell you is, it's bigger and better and more fun than anything I've ever done being at EXP. Right.
No, I think, I mean, that says it all, man. It's the freedom of it. Everyone talks about, well, I can get paid, or I got more deals, or more this, or more. It's just freedom. We found freedom, and you can go chase down those 100, 200, 500, 600 deals a year, or you can.
It's not the goal. My worst year in real estate was what people refer to as my best year in real estate. And that was when I sold 500 homes. I had a goal to sell 500 homes, which I hit. And I realized was not the goal. That was not
right. Yeah. No, I got a young guy I'm working with now, and he told me, I said, well, what's your goal? He says, to sell no houses, or maybe 10 a year, and help everybody else sell plenty of houses. I said, well, you're thinking.
You're thinking right.
Right. It's at. Well, cool, man. Well, I know you said you had to try and get off. I mean, I think it's right at 3 your time.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. I want to honor your time and everything, but I appreciate it, Jay. Hopefully we can connect again, but thanks for sharing.
Yep. Anybody out there? Yeah. Anybody that's out there, I just want to tell anybody that's watching, if you haven't talked to Terry about this opportunity, then then you have to talk to him. At least listen and just say, I'm going to have an open mind. You got 10 minutes. Tell me what the heck this is about. And so at least give him an opportunity. I promise you won't be disappointed.
I appreciate that, man. Well, awesome, Jay. Have a great rest of the day, man.
Yep.
We'll be
Take
talking.
Care. See you.